Hello everyone, wish you a very good morning. I'm Kanika Kumar, a special educator and the founder of Minds That Matter. Today I'm in conversation with Mrs. Deepika Shekhawat. She is a counseling psychologist with 10 years experience working in the field of mental health and education. She is skilled in individualized and group counseling, classroom management, teacher training and parenting workshops. Today she will be talking about strength-based parenting for parents of special needs children. So please stay tuned while I add our speaker for the day.
Hi, Deepika. Good morning.
Good morning, Kanika.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So can you hear me properly?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, then let's just dive in.
Yeah.
Okay, Deepika, please help us understand what do you mean by the term strength-based parenting?
All right. So to begin with, strength-based actually is rooted in positive psychology. So like
Okay.
how initially, psychology, the bulk of its attention was on mental illnesses and diagnosable disorders. So positive psychology takes our attention away from all that and into what is going on right with us rather than what is wrong with us. And
Okay.
like how each one of us has strengths, it could be talent, for example. It could be physical, social, something creative, music, art, dance, or something technical. At the same time, there are positive personality traits,
Okay.
being kind, being courageous, so being fair or being compassionate, and leadership skills. So a combination of your talents and your positive personality traits is what strength based parenting focuses on. And it actually, how we think that if you want to make our children more resilient and more optimistic, then what we need to do is remove their flaws or help them get rid of their weaknesses. But actually, what strength based approach turns our attention to enhancing or expanding their strengths rather than
Right,
reducing
right.
the weaknesses. And it
Okay.
does not mean that we ignore the weaknesses completely. It just means that we take a different approach, or we kind of look at them from a different perspective. And so that is what strength based parenting is all about, focusing on our strengths and using our strengths to actually help us reduce our weaknesses, but primary focus is strengths, our
I think
talents
this
and our
makes sense
strengths.
because our general understanding is that we need to just work on changing our weaknesses so that they are not weaknesses anymore. But in that effort, we forget to focus on our strengths and make sure that they remain our strengths because you need to
Exactly.
keep honing your strengths.
Exactly. Yeah. When children internalize this idea that, when they know, when they understand, especially children with different learning needs, because,
Mm-hmm.
their focus and their parents' focus, the teacher's focus is always on how we can help them improve. Now, it is with good intention. It is they want the best for the children. But what happens is it gets very demoralizing for the children. It's very demotivating when you take the route of working from weaknesses, rather when
Right.
you in the first thing that we need to work on is build their self-esteem, give them
Mm-hmm.
confidence. So when they know that they have certain strengths that they can use to take charge of their lives. So that is what strength based parenting focuses on, this approach. And I would like to say that this approach is not just for parenting. It can be applied with in any relationship. So it's not just for parents and children. Yeah.
Okay. So this brings me to my next question. You already mentioned that when we focus on the strengths, then a child or maybe any human can be more confident. What about other benefits? Why is it so important to focus on strengths?
So it's important. It makes sense to focus on strengths because first of all, like I said, when you directly focus on weaknesses, it's very demoralizing. And
Right.
also, like there is a biological reason behind it. That you know,
Mm-hmm.
our brain. There is a saying in there's Dr. Leah Waters, and she has worked extensively on this topic. And she
Okay.
has this saying in a book which is called "Where attention goes, where energy goes, or where attention goes, energy flows." So.
Mm-hmm.
Like you know what she means by that is that you know our brain in like strength development is happening throughout in our brain, throughout our
Mm-hmm.
lives, but it is happening at a rapid pace during childhood, in the sense that you know our brain's ability to move in a positive direction or a negative direction, which is called neuroplasticity, it's happening at a high speed
Right.
during childhood. So like you know our brain is giving new cells to those areas which are being stimulated by the environment, and it kind of removes or it kind of deletes or eliminates those cells which are not being used.
Right.
So
Right.
if we want our strength based areas to be supported, to be enhanced in our brain, then like we need to provide the children with lots of opportunities, lots of experiences where there is repeated practice of those strengths, those talents. Like for example, like you know our focus, like I mentioned before, that you know our focus goes definitely to what are the deficits, like you know, instead of strengths. So for example, like a girl gets scores like you know, or grades like A plus A, and then there's a D. So suddenly, like you know, our attention goes to where did the D come from, why is the D there. So and that happens like you know, it would be okay because if we were giving equal attention to all the grades, but we kind of tend to give more attention to the D, that you know what is that grade, like how did she manage to lower grade to D. So we need to, like you know, we need to realize that where does our focus lie, and we need to understand that you know what strengths did the girl or did the student use to get those A's, and then use those strengths to maybe turn that D into a C or a B. All right, like you
Okay.
know, for example, if a child is really good at art, is really good at design or humanities, and but is not so good at maths or chemistry, so then like you know what strengths can be used, or what are her strengths? Her strengths are creativity, designing. So maybe those strengths we could use to actually help her make models from chemistry, or make some kind of models in biology or science, any
Right.
kind of
Right.
and then use those models, those visual aids, to actually help her remember more information from those subjects. So it's basically not directly going to what is causing her to score low in math or science, but
Right.
rather using her strengths to raise her grades in the subjects which she's not so good at.
Right. Right. And I think to begin with, it would also help the child to feel have a positive self-esteem. It would motivate them so that in case they are having any self-doubt, and we as adults say that I can see that you're making a lot of effort and this seems to be something or you're interested in and you're good at it. Automatically, the child feels motivated to put in more efforts.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like the parents also need to, like, you know, I don't want to put all the pressure on the parents that, you know, they are focusing only on negative. It is not completely their fault. Like, you know, it's like because they're getting all this information, all the inputs from everybody that, you know, okay, this is, you need to do this, and you need to do that, you need to do this to improve her skills, or maybe like, you know, make her behave better, or maybe like, you know, get
And
better
there's
in
so
this
much of
particular subject.
competition also. You want your
Exactly.
child to be topping in everything.
Exactly, which is unrealistic. And so that's what the parents also need to, like you know, need to make the parents also feel a little better about themselves, because this is not completely their fault, or it is not our fault as human beings to focus on negativities around us, because this is kind of ingrained in us, in the
Right.
sense that you know, by focusing on what is like you know, our brains have this, like you know, they're designed in a manner which kind of makes our focus go on to anything that could be going wrong around us, so that we can survive. And that is how we have survived for most of the evolution. Like you know, we see that you know, what if we have a weakness that could put us at a disadvantage. So like you know, that is something that is ingrained in us as human beings.
Right.
However, today we do not need any, like you know, we don't need to protect ourselves from any predators or anything like that. What we need is complex reasoning, we need cooperation, we need social skills, we need emotional skills, and how problem solving. So those kind of skills will come from focusing on our strengths. And
Right, right.
the negative bias, once we realize that we have it and it's not completely our fault that we have it, we can make a conscious effort to look at the opportunities that are there
Mhm.
for our children, so that they can work on those strengths or enhancing those strengths. Yeah.
Right, right. Like you mentioned, Deepika, it's human nature to focus on negatives. So I think it actually requires a lot of conscious effort to focus on strengths, because as a teacher, we correct a lot of children's assignments and tasks, and we automatically, without even realizing, effortlessly, we just happen to notice the errors. But even
Yeah.
in that, we remember to appreciate that, no, I can see that today you wrote more sentences than last time. Today you remember to write S the right way. So noticing the small, small things, and especially the effort,
Yes.
goes a really long way. And like you
Exactly.
mentioned,
Yeah.
it's very natural, so it becomes actually difficult to focus on the strengths.
Yeah.
And especially with children with special needs, the parents keep receiving complaints or maybe feedback for improvement. That,
Hmm.
and then the children also go to inclusive schools. There you have
Hmm.
comparison with neurotypical children. So you
Hmm.
always feel like your child is somewhere, even with all the efforts that the child is putting in, the child is still falling short. It becomes very difficult to focus on the positives, on the
Yeah.
strengths, no matter how hard you try.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Yeah.
so
That's
in
why we
such a
need to make
situation,
that. Sorry, please go
no,
ahead.
please continue, continue.
No, I was just saying that it may seem like very mechanical, in the sense that to focus on strengths at first, but as and when, if you continue to do it, it becomes a regular part of your routine, of your parenting practices. Then it comes more naturally to you to focus on strengths. Now we will
Right.
talk about some strategies which will help us to focus on strengths. And so should we begin with the strategies then?
Yes, please.
Yeah. All right. So first, what we can do is, to begin with, when we start applying these strategies, we need to keep this in mind, that we do this in simpler situations. We start with simpler
Okay.
situations, and and maybe do it on a weekend when you're not so bogged down by work. In the sense, you're not distracted by work, and you have more time to yourself to actually be calm and apply these strategies. And when it comes to weaknesses, like we've spoken a lot about strengths, that they are your qualities, and also personal qualities, and your talents. Now, personal qualities are as important as your talents, because nothing, your personal positive character traits or your personality traits are very important in building your talents and skills. Because
Right, right.
it's said that you can get a job, if you have a decent IQ, you can get a job, but to maintain that job you need EQ, that is emotional quotient. So without your personality traits, without your character traits, your intelligence cannot really function fully. And also, when it comes to weakness, we our children, we need to make our children realize, and we also need to realize that just like everybody has strengths, everybody has weaknesses. And just
Mhm.
because you have these weaknesses does not mean that you're unworthy. It just means that you're human. And so this is something that we need to tell our children repeatedly. And also that we need to avoid the trap of spending too much time focusing on weaknesses. Now again, having strengths does not make us special, because everybody has some strength or the other. All right, maybe the the quantity, the quality, the level, it could be
Right.
some anywhere on the continuum, but it does not make us special, but it definitely makes us unique.
Mhm.
Every child, like with strength based approach, every child can become aware of that unique combination of the talents and personality traits.
Mhm.
So so that is what our children also need to realize, that weakness is, it's not the end of the world. And
Would you
so
say
and
that when people, these days there's a lot of chatter about celebrating Gratitude Day and writing in your journal about what you are gratitude about? So,
grateful, yeah.
does that help when you?
Yes.
Thank you. So, does that help, because then, in your life also you're focusing on little, little things, trying to find happiness, being thankful. So, that in itself is thinking on the
Yeah.
positive lines, being more
That is,
optimistic.
yeah,
So
yeah.
would
So
that
see,
also contribute towards being able to look at strengths?
definitely, it is a major. Like there is so much of research on gratitude being a major, like skill you can say, or a strategy to help you develop a positive like frame of mind. But it's a word that is overused. Gratitude, everybody knows. Like
Right.
have an attitude of gratitude. Everybody knows about what gratitude is, but how many of us actually practice it? And
Right.
gratitude, again, it's the word again, like it's not as simple as just saying thank you for something. Gratitude, like it makes more sense when you add a reason to it. Like when you say gratitude is saying thank you for anything, like that you are happy about. So being thankful for like when you wake up in the morning, you thank that you have another day to live, and thankful that you haven't got corona as yet. So so but also adding a reason to it, in the sense that why are you thankful? Because when you just start doing it, when you start developing the attitude of gratitude, it will not come naturally to you when you haven't been doing it for the longest time, when you have
Right.
been kind of overlooking these little things that we should be grateful for. When you
Mhm.
start practicing gratitude, it does not come naturally to you. So it feels very mechanical in the beginning, and it may seem very forced also. So just saying thank you will not make such a difference, but when you actually say thank you, and give a reason that why is it that you're thankful, and it could be, and saying thank you to that particular person, and that this is the reason that I'm saying thank you. And like for example, that I am thankful that I get to live another day. And why? Because I get to spend time with my family, because I get to do things that I love, or maybe
Right.
I get a
Right.
chance to like forgive people that have I have not had such good relationships with. So giving a reason to what you're thankful for helps you to actually look at all the things that you're like grateful for, and also it kind of, the depth increases of your gratitude when you add a reason to it, and then you kind of feel more grateful also. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? Like it's not just saying, simply saying thank you, that we say like so many hundred times a day, but to give a reason as to why you're thankful, and to actively practice it every day. Like just pick 10 things,
Mhm.
and believe it, picking 10 things that you're grateful for, when you sit down to actually think about it, it does not come that easily to you.
Right.
So it will come with practice, but, and it may seem mechanical at first, but once you start doing it, it becomes a part of you, and you start believing in it more. So
Right.
there are many ways of actually practicing gratitude. Like there is gratitude jars, like for kids, you put a jar in, and you put lots of things that the whole family, they put in slips of paper writing down what things that they are grateful for, and you pick a day of the week when you discuss all these things, and you realize that there's so many things that you're grateful for and thankful for. And so that kind of brings our takes our attention to all the things that are right in us and around us. So this is a
Right.
major strategy, um, to develop a strength-based approach, in the sense that to focus on things that we may be good at, or things that are going
I
well
think
for
I can
us.
actually generalize it to us adults, especially as teachers. Giving a reason, giving a rationale to children actually works. Like
Hmm.
whenever I try to give feedback to a child, I try not to just write good effort, because that's very
Hmm.
ambiguous.
Hmm.
Good for what? So then
Hmm.
I try to be specific that today I like your work because your handwriting was legible, or today you were able to spell all the words correctly. So when we give the child a reason for why the work is good or why the improvement is required, then they understand what was good and what needs to be improved. The same way
Exactly.
when parents tell
Yeah.
the child, don't do this, or maybe don't pluck flowers, but
Hmm.
why? If you tell
Hmm.
them why not to pluck it, they might not do it again.
Yeah.
But simply
Correct.
saying just don't do it will not
Hmm.
help. So giving a
Yeah.
reason, a rationale is really very important.
It is very important. And to what you're saying, if I just add a strength based approach to praising a child. So again, there are so many strengths, like we just sitting and thinking about it, those strengths may not come to us. But there is this website called Values in Action. So especially when you think about your positive personality traits or character traits, to figure out what are those qualities that you have, you can go to this website and they have this free survey where you can actually
Right.
figure out what those character traits you have. So, and to make it strength based, you can use that strength, you can use that, like, how it is, like, it's nice to see you both sharing, that's very kind of you. So we use the word, we use the strength kind in that sentence, so they know that they're a kind person. And
You could also say, thank you for helping me set the table. You are so helpful.
exactly. So when we add that strength based word, strength, to the sentence, to the praise, then it makes it even more, like, impactful. And they know that the kids start to identify with that strength. And the more you
Right.
focus on it, the more you see it everywhere. It's just that the more, like, where attention goes, energy flows. So and so yeah, negative. So that is one way of actually, like I said, that strategies. One is that, for the parents or for us, if, like, if you don't
Just a
have a
second,
child.
just a second,
Yes,
Deepika.
yes,
Before you move on to the next strategy, I just want to
yes,
say one
yes.
thing about
Yeah,
praise.
yeah, yeah.
When we praise our children, please, we need to really remember that keep the entire sentence that you're talking positive. Do not add a but to it. Because,
Hmm.
like you mentioned earlier, we tend to focus automatically on the negative. The moment you say, I like your work, but the whole impact of I like your work goes away, and the
Goes away.
focus
Yeah.
goes to but what is not going well. So
Correct,
if you
correct.
need to praise a child, make sure that it is only positive praise and you're not bringing in a but or an if.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Now, like, listening to this, parents would be like, then how do we actually help them work on the weaknesses? So that is what we're
Right.
talking about. To begin with, you need to help them simply focus on what they're doing right, and do it in situations where they have not done anything wrong, so that you can focus completely on the strengths. Like in situations where, like, maybe there are not even a little squabble or anything, maybe the kids are doing something, he's being polite to somebody, or like, he's colored, like, maybe even if he's colored outside the lines, like, you just say that, you've used a interesting choice of colors. So, like, that way, the child will tend to focus on what the things that he's doing right, and then he can use that when he's actually kind of stressed about something, or when there is some kind of conduct or some behavioral problem happening. So to begin with, that's what I was saying, that, start with simpler situations where you see the strength. And even before that, you notice one strength in your child. Like today, you, like, notice or pick on one strength that you see in your child, observe it
Mhm.
for a week, and then have a conversation with the child about it.
Okay.
So, like, even this is not to, again, no improvement, no nothing, this is just focusing on the strength. And or whenever you see your child using any kind of strength, call it out, like, tell him that, it's really, like, you being very helpful, it was very courageous of you, it was very brave of you to actually go and, like, stand up for your friend when he was being bullied. Or so, like, you need to, like, anytime you see your child using any kind of strength, like, maybe today he sat down to do his homework at the right time, so you praise his self control, the ability to that, ability to actually have that control over his impulses. And like, so whenever
Manage
you
the
see a
time
strength,
well
call
instead
it
of
out.
sitting in front of the TV, actually do the
Yes,
homework.
I know, and that's a long shot. That's a long shot. But yeah, wherever, like, it's not just related to homework or anything. It could be anything during the day that he does, that you see, identify a strength in, and then you call it out. And then
Right.
the second part would be building on that strength. So, like, you put the children in situations where they use those strengths, where it, like, those situations kind of bring the best out of them. So yeah, and also strengths are not, like, you won't, and sometimes, like, listening to this, you might feel that, if we only talk about good things to our children, or if we only keep praising them all the time, then
Right, right.
like, they'll turn into narcissists or anything. But none of us are so perfect that like, displaying strengths all the time, like 100% of the
Right.
time. So there is
And at the
no
same time, we
worry.
don't want our children not to be able to handle negative feedback.
Exactly. And they will be more receptive to negative feedback, or they will be more receptive to any kind of constructive criticism when they know that they have strengths to use to overcome those, those areas,
Okay.
those need areas. So they are
Mhm.
more receptive, when they know that they have strengths, and when they know that your focus is strengths. Like when the parents focuses strengths and when the child focuses strengths, then they know that, okay, I am more in a mental space to work on my weaknesses, you can say.
Right.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so if we move on to some more strategies, like, attention span, I think is a very sensitive area, because it affects everything that a child does or we do.
Yeah.
So that is something that parents really need to work on. So again, some points that we need to remember about attention is that, like when the child is around 3 years of age, the
Mm-hmm.
attention span would be around 3 to 5 years, 3 to 5 minutes. And when the child goes on to around 6 to 12 years of age, there's a growth spurt, there's a developmental spurt. So the attention span reaches 10 minutes. And then around 15 years of age, there's another growth spurt, and the attention span becomes around 25 to 30 minutes. 20 to 25 minutes. So, and after that, it just wears off. It's the same for us as adults. We cannot
Right.
pay
Right.
attention for more than 25-30 minutes. So, Kanika, I would like to recommend that this live also does not cross that limit, because I'm sure people will not be able to focus
Right.
beyond 30 minutes, because it stays the same for us as adults as well. So we need to keep this in mind when we're trying to, help our children, work on their attention span. So certain, again, to build attention span, rather than directly going to areas where they need to enhance their attention span, we can start with the areas where they pay attention, and what in areas that make them feel good, or where they will be less defensive, and where they're able to more easily pay attention. So for example, with younger kids, you look at the shape of the clouds and you try to figure out, you just sit outside and you try to figure out the shape of the clouds. So again, that is you focus on one thing at a time. When you focus, your
Right.
concentration is being aware of one thing at a time. So that is what attention span is like. When you focus on one thing, you're able to put all your energy in that, and you're able to focus.
Right.
So
Right.
before we go on to how he needs to pay attention in math, how needs to focus, pay more attention to spelling or anything like that, start with these situations where he or she is able to pay attention in situations that are fun for him, that are easy for him, and that will help to build the attention muscle, you can say. So if he's there are things that you write a list of all the things that make you feel happy. So you can also, the parents can also write a list, and the child can also write a list of things that make you happy, and then remind each other to focus on those things from time to time. Like even when you're eating, like focus on the smell of the food that you're eating. And again, this is related to mindfulness, when you focus on one thing at a time and you use all your senses to focus on
Right.
that. So that helps to build the attention muscle. Again, it's a very overused word, mindfulness, but do not add anything more to your routine. You can just have the children do their regular work with just using those kind of activities, like eating and drinking, feeling the how does the water feel while you're drinking it, or anything else that you're consuming, anything else that you can use your senses to see. So, and so all these kind of strategies, all these activities that you can use to build that attention muscle. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
And
great.
there's another strategy which is called a strength switch. Again, it's by Dr. Leah Waters, and she's done extensive
Okay.
research on this. So what she says is that it's important for us also to figure out what our strengths are as parents, as
Right.
just
Right.
people. So in any kind of situation that you like I said, you start with a simpler situation where it's just a simple squabble maybe, which could turn into a bigger problem. So you start with
Mhm.
that simple thing, and you first calm down, and you think about,
Okay.
stop that, what strength, or how am I feeling, what am I
Uh-huh.
feeling right now, and what strength can I bring to the situation to deal with it more effectively, or to deal with it
Yeah.
differently. and then you think about what strengths can your child bring in the situation to deal with the situation more effectively. And then you move on to reminding the child that, okay, this is what your strength is, and this is what I think you can use. Or you can ask him also that, what do you think, with strength do you think you can use in this situation to actually help you out. Now, before that, we need to make the children aware of what their strengths are. So what one way we can do it, we can create a strengths poster, that, where you have their picture in the middle, and then you have written all the strengths around the picture. And
Right.
so, like, you just have to tell them that, why don't you go take a look at the poster and see what strengths can be applied in this situation. And then there are strengths journals where you like write down all the strengths that you have from day to day.
Okay.
And also you can use sticky notes, where like if you see your child using a particular strength, then you go because right away you want to rely and you don't have time to sit and talk about it, then you write it on the sticky note and you stick it somewhere where the child can see. And so these are some things that you can make the child aware. You can write a strengths letter to your child, talking about all the strengths that they have shown all this while. So this kind of helps the children become aware of what the strengths are, and then they'll be
Right. Right.
able to use those strengths to overcome any kind of challenges. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Deepika. I think those were some very simple and helpful strategies. They're actually doable, does not require too much background knowledge. So I think
Yes.
we will be able to do it. And it was a very insightful session. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
live and sharing your knowledge and experience with us. I'm sure the people in the audience will also try to use the strategies.
I hope they do. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.